Hi and welcome to Spill the Tea with LLIB. I'm Cal.
And I'm Claire.
And together we founded the incredible platform that is Leading Ladies in Business, a platform that inspires and supports female business women across the globe.
Hi everyone and welcome to this episode of Spill the Tea with LLIB. Today we have got a special guest, Hannah, who is the founder of Bright Monday. And we are super excited to have you on the show today.
No problem.
Welcome. Spilling the tea with us again. You know, we've had you on the LLIB membership program doing marketing and you blew us away. You were absolutely incredible. So when we had you on the podcast today, I got that excited because I love marketing and Cal loves marketing.
Any excuse for a good natter, I'm up for it.
And a cup of tea, and a nice cup of tea. So Hannah, spill the tea with us about your journey as a woman in business so far.
Yes, I think my journey as a business owner started, not so long ago really, but I think timing was everything. I spent nearly 2 decades in marketing, but in an employed sense. And I think the idea of owning your own business, especially with something like marketing, or if you're an accountant or something else like, you know, a professional service, it's always there as a goal, or wouldn't it be nice? Or at the end of this, the goal would be, I would start my own business. But I was also that person that, you know, thought, oh, it's not the right time. It's not the right time. Oh, I couldn't because X, Y, and Z, or I would like to do this. And the thing with marketing is it's always changing. So when was that time ever going to be?
Yeah.
And I think I noticed it as well when it comes to getting married or having children. You know, there is never a perfect time to do that. So I think for me, like a lot of other women in business, the catalyst came when you have children. You know, your dynamic changes, your capacity changes, and also, you know, you're almost split in two, aren't you? Especially if you're passionate about what you do. And suddenly you feel like you can't have it all anymore. And I don't think anyone really prepared me for that. It came as a massive shock. So I was like, I'd gone from a really ambitious, driven, passionate, you know, professional to suddenly having kids. And it didn't mean I wasn't that anymore, but I was seen in a different light.
Yeah.
So I tried to work, you know, 4.5 days instead of, you know, 2.5 days a week, like most parents who would look for that sort of work-life balance. And I was still kind of seen as a part-timer. Yeah. And then there's the women in business. You know, I've worked in sort of profit and non-profit organisations, and sometimes being a woman or a female professional, you know, there are biases that you've got to contend with as well. So there's things coming at you all the time. And then of course the pandemic came along, and I had my second son. And the pandemic was a catalyst for a lot of people to just take stock and reflect, wasn't it? So again, that came, and it all compounded to like, maybe this is the right time. And I think working from home gave you a taste of that, gave you a taste of how it would be to sort of motivate yourself and work from home and just almost reschedule your day. You're not chained to your desk, you know, and just nipping it downstairs to make a quick brew. There are other ways to work. So I'm folding laundry and I'm listening to the Leading Ladies in Business podcast or something else, and I'm using it as research time. Or, you know, I might like take a walk or come to a meeting and meet other people. And when I'm meeting other people at networking events, it's a form of social listening for me. Because when I started Bright Mondays, this sounds really against what I'm all about of having a strategy, but I didn't have a plan. I wanted to listen to, I understood that sort of lockdown and sort of businesses turning into hybrid businesses had changed the way people were working, and obviously the need and demand and behaviours of consumers. But I wanted to really listen to what was important to them, because we had this massive digital acceleration as well.
Yeah.
So much change that I need to sit here for a moment. And this is what I would encourage any of my clients or prospects to do as well, is take a moment to get to know your customer, get to know them again. Yeah, because business is different.
It's really interesting that you just said get to know them again.
Yeah.
Because COVID and the pandemic changed a lot of, you know, the customers, you know, just the way people buy now and what people are doing. So that's a really, really good bit of advice to give. Yeah. Even if you have your customer persona pandemic,
Yeah.
don't assume that they are the same person with the same needs.
Definitely not.
And
the
even
same
not
with your
year on
strategy.
year, you know, I think lots of businesses evolve, don't they? Naturally, it should be evolving to meet, you know, customer needs and a changing economy out there and changing society. And so actually we always need to be reflecting on our customer and what they need now and what best serves them.
Because look, if like we just said, you know, in terms of a woman in business, having children or getting married, it changes things slightly, you know, and also, you know, women are choosing to have children later sometimes. And I mean, I'm going to use my grandma as an example. She's like in her 90s and like suddenly had to start banking online and like talking to her accountant over email and things. And like she hasn't got the digital skills to do that, but she's doing it, you know, and actually, I don't think, you know, those businesses that she uses have taken stock of that really. It's like, it's a blanket approach that works for, you know, Gen Y or Gen X or whatever who are always on their phones. But what about the people that, you know, aren't so tech savvy? So there's all these things to consider.
Definitely. So in terms of your business journey then, and starting up in business, what have been some of the challenges and some of the highlights from that so far?
The challenges for me was, and we've talked about it previously, was actually trusting my intuition because it's a big step and there's a big difference between being employed and being a business owner, not just the responsibility, but just like the feeling of it as well. So it was kind of as I say, I always had these excuses why I shouldn't. And then when I sat one day and said, are they my only excuses? Just get on and do it. Like now's the time, it's now or never. It's actually like, is that fear or is that intuition, you know, and learning to trust myself. And in year 2 of the business now, I've made decisions that are good. I've made decisions at the time and said no to some business. I'm thinking, am I mad? I'm in the first year of my business. I've just said no to that. But actually, it was a good decision because it gave me integrity. And if I said yes to something, then it might put me against all the other marketers out there when actually I'm trying to create a unique space for myself. I'm trying to offer something different. I'm trying to get people to understand that there's a lot more to marketing than just social media and tactical output.
I love that. That is pretty incredible.
Yeah. And your biggest inspirations then?
As I say, I'd been in employment for so long that actually, if I think about it, I've taken something from every manager or director I've worked for, and they're usually females. I've worked for sort of male marketers as well, but with the females, I think if I look back, I've taken a little bit of something from everybody. I've taken it and I've sort of honed my technique.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And what would, at the minute now, obviously being business owners, the marketing side of the world, what would your biggest tips, your biggest advice be around? I know you've just touched on, you know, it doesn't have to be social media and it doesn't have to be, you know, what would your biggest advice be?
I think one of the biggest things I always say is don't borrow or reuse strategies. Don't try and copy. I think a lot of marketing these days is everybody's using templates and hacks and, you know, do this and go from 500 to 5 million, you know, and it's very influencer style language. And I think that people are seeing what others are doing and they're trying to replicate it. But I would really like people to take time.
Ownership.
Yeah, ownership, but also like what is unique about you and play to your own strengths and really draw on your existing resources. And it takes time and a bit of investigation to do that. And it can be challenging, but it's hugely rewarding as well. Because instead of everybody fighting over the same competitive space, and it's super crowded, and it's so super crowded that like nobody's really listening, being able to separate yourself and look at actually what are our unique selling points. And it can't be good customer service and it can't be high quality service or product. I don't want to hear customer service or high quality again, because they should be given things. They're not unique. Your personality is unique. Maybe the way you do something is unique, or the resources you have that are unique, or your network and your ability to collaborate or form a partnership is unique. You know, I want people to dig down and draw that out because the magic is within them. It's not out there to copy and replicate, because otherwise you're left feeling a bit deflated and sort of unfulfilled. And that's how marketing gets a bit of a bad rap.
Absolutely spot on. And I think that is one of the best bits of advice as a business owner, that I can absorb in terms of the marketing side, because at the minute I'm seeing so many people, and we're seeing it for leading ladies, we're seeing it for, you know, community interest companies, charities, you know, they are pretty much all trying to be the same. They're all following the same handbook, if there was a handbook, and it's not. And I think social media's got a big part to play in that. You can't be, you know, the same as somebody else. You can't have them same templates in you, because you've got a different customer persona. And again, it goes back to knowing your customer, but taking the time actually. And I know me and Cal are we do voice this a lot, but struggling in a business for over 6 years, you know, actually isn't a struggle, it's a lesson. You know, we learn every single day, and then that's what makes our business so successful now. The getting to know our customer, the taking the hours and hours to listen, you know, to develop new skills, to get it wrong, then get it right. You know, it's about that experience. If somebody would have handed us a booklet with instructions of how to build this business that we've got now, step by step, it wouldn't be what it is now. Like, it just wouldn't be, because it's what we've learned along the way, and the things we've got wrong, and the people who have come into leading ladies and left or come back, and, you know, it's those experiences that, you know, make it what it is. So I absolutely love that. And I do echo it. Don't look at social media and don't look at what everyone else is doing. You know, you can make 500, you know, or gain 500 followers in a blink of an eye. You know, it's not about that. It's about the followers. And, you know, we haven't got a mass amount of followers on Instagram if you look at other accounts, especially networking platforms. But we've got genuine, authentic customers, quality, you know.
Events.
And also your value is determined by your customers.
Absolutely.
You don't set the tone and then get your customers to fit into that.
No.
You listen to your customers, you take it on board, you understand your opportunities to improve and your weaknesses. And don't shy away from the challenges, okay? Now, if the one thing I could say to all my clients is I want to understand the challenges even more so than anything else, your strengths and weaknesses. But the challenges, that's where the growth is. If we play it safe and you want marketing to feel easy, where's the growth? How are you going to learn? How are you going to set yourself out? You know, we've got to go through those challenges, and it's super rewarding. You're going to learn so much. You're going to grow. And also, it's harder for competitors or rivals to replicate that, you know, especially if it's difficult, or especially if you've gone a unique way and you've used unique resources and you're doing something different. You know, it's harder for them to follow that, or it'll be slower for them to replicate it.
Absolutely. And what we're seeing a lot of on social media as well is how, you know, the behind the scenes looks, and how we got to this point where we are now. And I think that's really important for people to not attach themselves to somebody else's vision and somebody else's marketing
and
campaign
your
plan.
goals, your business's goals and objectives. Like, say I was a hairdresser, you know, my goals and objectives are different to the hairdresser next door, okay? Because our businesses are different, our style is different, our approach, our personality is different. So why would you want to replicate or mimic somebody else's strategies in a different colour or a different tone, or a, you know, well, we'll add this in just to make it a little bit different. When actually, like, if you have a strategy that speaks to your individual goals and objectives, it's almost like putting the blinkers on. It provides you with so much focus and that confidence and clarity that comes with it. It's like, okay, they're doing that, that's fine, because we're doing this. And there's no fast wins in marketing. You know, there's some short-term games, but the majority of the really worthwhile stuff is long-term. And it's just one foot in front of the other, quality and consistency or metrics, not what everybody else is doing, how many followers they've got. You know,
I absolutely love that. You know, it's the tortoise and the hare story, isn't it? You know, with marketing, and we're so used to seeing that you can be an overnight success. And one of the greatest things out there, you know, was the Joe Wick story that's just come out, you know, a few months ago, and you're saying, you know, I'm the biggest overnight success, and you know, but actually, you know, when you look at his journey, he was doing for 10 years, going out there onto Clapham Common or whatnot, you know, with his bike and his couple of bits of kettlebells, but what people see is this end product, and they don't see the struggle behind the scenes or how hard somebody's worked to become that overnight success, as it were. And consistency, I think, is one of the things that most people shy away from, you know, that because they don't get an instant result, or they don't get an instant growth, or their business isn't instantly overnight where they want it to be. they then go, oh God, it's not working. I need to change. I need to do this. I need to do that. No, like just keep going with what you know's working.
And I think that comes from as well is when you start up your business or when you're in the early years, it's about making money and you're like, I just want to make money. So like if it's not working, we need to change direction. Yeah. And it, you know, it's holding your nerve and sticking with it, you know. And again, that strategy just wasn't thought up in an afternoon. Yeah. You know, there's been research put behind it, and keep an eye on customer insights, keep an eye on your analytics. Your marketing's a whole process because it doesn't just, your strategy isn't just set and then it's on the wall or it's in the drawer. Come back to it, pivot it. If something doesn't feel right or it's not looking right or it's not achieving what you want it to achieve or it hasn't hit those benchmarks, go back to it, give it a tweak. That's what optimization is all about. You know, it's a fluid process.
So in terms of then ideal client, what would be your ideal client and what's your USP? Because you spoke a lot about it before. So what sets you apart and who are you looking to work with?
What sets me apart is it comes from my passion in marketing, actually, because when I was a young girl at that sort of last year of school and they're asking you, what do you want to do when you leave school? Do you remember they used to give you that brown book, your record of achievement, and you felt like, oh, I've got to make a decision, you know? And I've always been a bit of a planner. So I was like, right, you know, I need to feel inspired. What do I want to do? Because I want to set a course for that. I want to know what I want to do with my A-levels. I remember watching the TV and thinking, I must have seen about 4 car adverts, and I was thinking, you know, what is it? Like, how does that inspire people to buy? Yeah. Why did they choose that music? And like, why is it like that? Because, you know, some of these adverts are really out there. And I thought, actually, it's the psychology behind advertising that I'm really, really interested in. And like, what do you call that? And it took me about 12 years to find out what you call it, because it was branding, it was advertising. You know, there's so many facets to marketing. And then I discovered behavioural science and behavioural economics, which is quite an American term, but like, you know, you can study it and it's absolutely fascinating. And it's the psychology behind why we buy. And marketing is psychology applied. You know, as I say, it's not just picking templates and seeing what's trendy, because trends will come and go and change. And people's behaviour, human behaviour, and what happens in the brain when you're absorbing, you know, messages and images and video and audio, you know, it's very different. So learning that has sort of given me an edge. Is like, I like to specialize in behavioral strategy. I like to look at sort of color psychology of branding. I like to look at your messages. I like to look at your call to actions and what's going on your webpage, and just say like, okay, pair behavior with data and insight, put them together, and they influence each other really, really nicely. Yeah. And as I say, the tactical stuff, there's plenty of people out there who are posting on social media for businesses, creating amazing graphics and videos and productions, you know, setting up podcasts, writing newsletters. There's so many of that. And I can do all of that. You know, I've spent nearly 2 decades in being a marketing professional in business development. But what I love, what gives me the passion and the drive and being able to help transform people's businesses is sort of like lifting the lid on that, really, and just sort of looking at behaviour. And behaviour is going to be big, you know, with the metaverse, you know, sort of coming into play. And
sounds like something off the Marvel film, doesn't it?
It does. Metaverse. Ready for it. No, but I mean, behaviour is going to be big, and I think customers and consumers are going to be in the driving seat.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, more than they ever have been in the years to come. It's all going to be about them, and they don't want to be sold to anymore. They want to be supported. And so it's up to brands and businesses to become more personal and less corporate-like, and make their brands feel authentic and regain that trust, because this digital evolution as well, people have cottoned on. They're more commercially savvy than ever.
Oh, absolutely.
They can tell a sales message, and they can tell what you're trying to do with your branding now. So it's not that you're trying to deceive them, but you're just trying to get down to their level. And that involves getting to know them. And practicing dialogue more than just a brand monologue. This is what we do. This is what we sell. Listen to them. You know, if their perception of your value is this, and you can derive that from testimonials or reviews or forums and things like that, and you can infuse that back into your marketing, you might find actually your USP is something completely different. And that'll help, you know, push you forward and help you get greater success in the future.
So interesting.
It really is. We could go on all day, couldn't we?
Sorry.
No,
No,
we really
don't apologise.
could.
We love
really
it.
could.
This is our thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
We love it, and
there's so
especially the
much that you can
behavioural
take
side
it.
of things.
Especially the behavioural
Yeah.
side of things.
Yeah. Shall we go there?
I think you've got to.
So you said before our USP and what makes us unique, and don't change and don't look left and right and things like that, which is great. But we've got something that is, it's become a thing on the podcast where our differences does divide us, doesn't it?
Yeah,
habits.
And I feel like as habits, as the
Attitude.
method,
Is it
attitude, the psychology behind why people do what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Like why is that a thing?
Yeah.
Why is that
it?
even a thing?
Yeah.
Why do you do
So what do we do? So Hannah, how do you make a cup of tea?
A cup of tea. It is, I'm afraid, tea bag in,
Yeah.
water in, nice stir,
Yeah.
lift it out, milk in.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you've got to be finished off by dipping a nice biscuit in.
I love
Gotta dip
the
your biscuit.
absolute people pleaser in you then, because you looked at me as if to say, I'm so sorry, Claire, with your eyes.
Well,
and it
do
was
you know-
like, I'm so sorry, I really like you, but I don't like the way you make a cup of tea.
I have occasionally made it your way. Like I'm a marketer, I A/B test. So like I've got to go there and just see, could it be right? So there are occasions that I've done that, probably when nobody's around and nobody's looking.
Oh, no, because it's just not what you need people to see. It's not the right image of you, is it?
No.
That you want to portray to the world.
So you're a Cal. You're a team Cal. Okay, team Cal. What biscuit then? Let's
I know.
What
King of
biscuit
all
you go?
biscuits.
Yeah.
The custard cream.
The custard.
Really?
cream.
I'd go a hobnob.
Would you?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I think a
know, it
hobnob's
just-
a good Dunkin' biscuit.
Would it
No,
not just-
See, that's a
soggy.
whole other podcast, isn't it? Is what biscuit
It's
would you
durable.
put in your tea? But yeah,
would
rich
you
tea,
put in?
not durable. That's like the
No.
Yeah.
weakest of all
No,
biscuits,
it's like
isn't
grandma
it? Like,
biscuits.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do
But
like
yeah.
rich tea though, definitely. Well, thank
Do
you.
you?
Thank you. I feel like the behavioural science behind why we, and that it's okay.
Yeah, for us
I
to
got
be
from this
friends.
podcast
Yeah.
that it's okay. It's okay. It's not a big thing to make tea the way I make tea or make tea the way you make tea. Like, it's okay.
I
Because
thought that it was a
market for
really
your-
divisive thing.
Yeah, there's a
and there was
market
a
for your way
certain
and there's a
behaviour.
market-
there's a market
There's
for
an
my-
audience
There'll
for
be
each.
people
Yeah,
on
and
my
don't worry
side
about
and people. No,
competing.
don't worry about. And don't you worry about making your tea. You just make it
Don't
the way
worry
you
about
make it, and
drinking
it's fine. Yeah, your lovely cup of tea. And on that, thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
an incredible
Thank
guest.
you.
And thank you for listening. Don't forget to click the subscribe button or click the follow button wherever you are watching this episode, this series, this episode. And we will, we'll look forward to spilling the tea with you very, very soon.
Bye.
Bye.